Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magical Journey. So, before we get started tonight, a couple of things. First of all, we have a little change in the show tonight. My original guest for tonight canceled on me just a few moments ago. We had some miscommunication. So, tonight, I have a big surprise for you guys. We're kind of carrying over from the Eye of Jupiter tonight. So for those that were watching that, we have a special guest on tonight. Actually, I have three special guests on tonight. I'm not going to spoil it just yet. Hold on a second. First of all, I want to talk to you guys for a minute about our housekeeping here. Let's jump over when you get a chance to my website, magicaljourney.com, but don't do it right during the show. That's kind of not where I want you just yet. Wait till after the show. You can find all things Magical Journey on there, including all of my my social links. You can find how to contact me for any reason you care to contact me for that is legal and not personal. You can also find my merch store, Magical Merch. It's really important for you guys to become our walking, talking billboards so that people learn who I am and how to get in contact with me through magicaljourney.com. So with that, also, I want you guys to be aware of the Facebook group. It is very important for you to jump on there and become a member if you want to keep up with all things Magical Journey going on. With Facebook, you will also get some really good extra stuff going on there. Speaking of extra, I know it is not for everybody, but I do have a Patreon account, and right now is currently one tier. It's very affordable for the price of a cup of coffee at any place other than, the most famous one. You can get all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. There's content on there that will be no place else. Also, you have the opportunity for live chats and live Q&As. And just over time, this is going to grow into a place where I'll be doing some live work and so forth like that on there that you will see no other place. So get ahead of the game and join my Patreon. It is in my link tree, the link for it. And you will be experiencing a new world, a very magical world. Now, let's talk about tonight's show. So tonight, we're kind of carrying over the Eye of Jupiter show with Tom Franklin and our special guest, Harley Owens, and Fisher of Spam is joining us tonight as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the stage my brothers here.
Hi!
Hey! All right, guys. Not that we need introductions here because people know y'all by now, but let's do some introductions. And also, while we're on this part, you guys run over to Facebook or wherever right quick, share this live with people because obviously it's a different live than they're expecting.
Yeah.
All right. So, Harley, do you want to start us off with a little bit of an introduction and social media?
Yeah, absolutely. For those that don't know me, my name is Harley Owens. I'm a Bigfoot researcher and investigator from East Tennessee. I'm 25 years old. Happily married, yes, to my lovely wife, Gabrielle, that's right here by my side now. Hi, Gabby. She's my rock. He said, Jim said hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
She's my rock, and she supports me in this, and she's had a bad experience or two.
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, right? We're not going to talk about those experiences with the Bigfoot. She didn't really believe in them until now. So I'm just very fortunate, very blessed to have her as a support system for doing what I do. And the biggest thing for me, what I'm doing is leaving a legacy behind for my kids. And so yeah, my socials are all the same. Bigfoot reports and data. Super easy to find. I have all the links in my social media bio.
Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. There we go. Are you back?
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're here now. Sorry about that. I don't
Okay.
know what we're at.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that was.
Oh,
Okay.
them darn MIBs, man. Them
That's
darn
exactly it.
MIBs.
MIB. Get some space pigs.
Space pig.
Or something.
Yeah, like, as I was trying to say, my socials are all the same. You know, you can go through and hit the links and find my Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, all these other socials that I have. You know, super easy. Bigfoot reports and data. It's the and symbol, so it's pretty easy to find me. You know, I'm very fortunate, very blessed to do what I do, and I'm very thankful to be friends with y'all.
Aw.
Aw.
We love you,
We love
Harley. We really do.
Hey, what you doing?
Tom, are you with us? Are you with us? Can you hear me?
Tap!
He's having a little bit of a delay, I think.
Yeah. Hi.
There he is.
Did you ask a question? My internet is Mexican. I'll eventually connect up, guys. Am I queued up to do my plugs?
Do it.
Do it.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. There we go. Yeah, so my name is Tom Franklin. I run the podcast known as the Eye of Jupiter podcast. You can catch me every Friday right before Magical Journeys podcast at 6:15 Central, 7:15 Eastern time. You can catch a regular episode of the Eye of Jupiter podcast every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. time. I also drop an occasional, hey, I got an upgrade on my camera. I got this, I got the other. You can catch me on the YouTubes. You can catch me on Rumble. You can catch me on Facebook at the Eye of Jupiter. You can also download me on your favorite podcast, except for podcast downloader, except for Apple. I still haven't gotten to Apple yet. And yeah, you can catch me over there. We have a lot of interesting ideas, concepts, and discussions, and they're always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, always
Awesome.
a blast on the eye.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Fisher, hello.
What's up, buddy? All right. Well, now that we got all that riffraff out
Hey,
of the
we
way.
saved the best for last. We saved
That's
the best
right.
for last.
So I am he who fishes for spam, also known as Jim. You can find me on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. It used to be on X, but I'm not a real person according to X. So I'm on to you, Elon. Don't make me tell
We
him
could have told X
about
that.
you. Don't make me tell him. I'll make a show. I'll expose you, bro. I'll do it. But anyways, we're super serial over there. And yeah, come out over there and hang out with me. Have a good time. We'll talk about like Nephilim and stuff, you know.
Ooh, the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love the topic of the Nephilim.
Me too.
Oh,
It's
that's
one of my
right
favorites.
up my alley.
Come hang
I
out.
still have to finish reading the book that I have on the Nephilim.
Mm.
There's so much. You guys don't know. My research list is getting crazy. So one of the questions that I posed tonight that Tom just totally never saw 2 times, maybe 3, but that's okay. I love you, Tom. Tonight, Harley, and I kind of want to lead into the discussion.
Tom's a little slow tonight. Tom's slow.
I
It's
know
our-
we
it's
love you,
okay,
Tom.
The questions on
It's
the
okay,
side, so,
Tom.
yeah.
La Raza.
I was like,
You-
what
Tom,
question?
Tom, you know you are you're just absolutely the person. So he was the man who got me started on this, guys. I fell in love with podcasting watching Tom do his thing, work his magic. So Harley, one of the questions I wanted to pose to you tonight, and this is kind of going to lead into the rest of the show, is since the hurricane through that area, has there been an uptick in the trails of paranormal activity along with the sightings?
Yeah, I definitely think it has. For one, the area is changed. I mean, the creek is essentially washed out now, and the bank, it's actually pretty much like a small river now. You know, and it's easily accessible to find tracks now. You know, I've found several different ones, but you know, I've only got the one casted. And I definitely think that it has made a uptick in the paranormal stuff kind of happen. I had a very weird experience happen with my buddies, George and Robert, on the 21st of December. We put up some tape in between two trees. So I wrapped it around one tree and took the tape across to the other tree and wrapped it around that side. And as we're walking away, going up this hill, I turned around and I asked them, I said, did any of y'all touch that tape? And they were like, no, because the tape was moving. It's like something came and just smacked the tape and took off. And that was a pretty woo-woo-y moment. I was like, that was weird, you know, because if it was a Bigfoot, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't, you know, if it was physically here, we would have heard it. You know, we would have heard its footsteps, and then, you know, whenever it ran off, I think it was cloaked, or essentially whatever you want to call it, and it came and smacked it, you know, just like it was teasing us, like ha ha. So I definitely think that because of Helene, I mean, there was a lot of people that lost their lives and lost their homes and all this stuff from Helene. I mean, the media doesn't cover it like it needs to be covered, and it's just a big bad ordeal essentially. And I think what ultimately is going to happen is all this land and all this stuff from where this has happened. I think it's going to be an uptick, and it's going to turn into an area a lot like the land between the lakes. There's going to be so much energy, and these things are going to be running around everywhere.
Right.
I have two things to add to that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
One, I went through some of the damaged areas of Georgia on my way to and from work this past week that got hit by Helene. And I'm still amazed by how demolished some of those areas still are. And it's tragic.
And it's insane, man. Like
right
here where I live in East Tennessee, we had it bad, but nowhere near as bad as what North Carolina had it. North Carolina, man, it's like a totally different place. It's like cut off from the rest of the world. I-40, because I live in Newport, so it's right outside of North Carolina, and I-40 from our exit is the last exit before you can get off. You have to get off because they have it closed. So basically, all of I-40 through the gorge in North Carolina, Tennessee is all closed down. You cannot use I-40. You have to take back roads, or you have to go up Interstate 81 into Virginia, or go down 75. Like all of North Carolina is shut off. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And you know, I've worked in hurricanes. I've done all that stuff, you know, from working on the power lines, and I've never seen anything like what this storm done. And you know, you can dive into conspiracies as much as you want, but everything doesn't add up on this. How does a hurricane strengthen over 500 miles inland? That's just unfathomable. Much less it makes a curve. You know, I can see it if it's in the water. Yeah, it could probably do whatever it wants. But when this thing curved and came directly on the land and got stronger, that is not natural. Storms don't process that way.
Right. Well, and I'm not going to spoil it. I want you guys to do your research on this, but look at where the thing actually formed at, which is a little different too. So I think there's a lot of things about that storm that we can probably say was not right, to put it loosely. I'm doing a lot of research, or I have it slated to do a lot of research still on the storm. I'm still in another area with that whole thing.
Stop grilling me.
When you
Sorry.
when you guys get, what did you do, Jim? What did I miss?
I was told not to growl at her. I said sorry.
You growled at her?
Oh no, my wife's talking to the
I'm
kids.
joking.
I'll have to mute my mic.
You're
Yeah.
good. You're good.
No,
Kids.
yeah, you're
Actually,
fine.
since this is a forum, should we say we believe in the official narratives?
Of course,
Oh,
of course,
the official narrative.
Official
Yes.
narrative.
of course, we believe the official narrative.
Yeah. We get spicy.
So, with the situation with some of the sightings too, have they stayed within the park, or are they starting to spread out further?
So they followed me home at some point. You know, sometimes they'll have stuff happen outside the house. Now they at one point in time, like I would go out and grill, and
Mhm.
I'd come back outside, and my grill would be open, like they were toying with me. They would open my grill, and then there were
Mhm.
sometimes what they would do is they would take my spare tire off my trash can, because I keep a spare tire on to keep the raccoons out. They would take the spare tire off, put it on the back porch, and when I would open the door to go outside, it would hit the door would hit the tire. And so initially what I started to do was keep the porch light on, and I've kept the porch light on just about every night. So
Wow.
just just last week, me and Gabby were laying in bed, and all of a sudden she jerked. I was out, and she tapped me on the shoulder. She said, "Harley, Harley, Harley, Harley." I said, "What?" She said, "There's a raccoon outside." And I said, "What did it do? How do you know it was a raccoon?" She said, "It smacked the shed." And I'm like, I looked at her. I sat up out of the bed and I looked at her. I said, "Do you really think a raccoon can smack the shed and make it sound that loud?" She said, "Yeah." And it done it again, and I heard it. And I was like, "Well, I hate to break it to you, babe, but that's a Bigfoot." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, there ain't no raccoon that big that can smack the side of the shed." So last night I had a podcast with my guys from North Carolina Investigates. It was Robert and George and all them. And my daughters, it was after the podcast was over. My daughters were in the kitchen. They were running around playing. And all of a sudden they started saying, "Monkey, monkey, monkey, monkey." And they started screaming. And they came running to me, and I'm like, "What? What did you see?" They said, "Monkey, monkey." And they were like, "Come on, come
Whoa.
on, monkey." And I was like, "Okay." So I followed them into the kitchen. And I was like, Where is the monkey?" And they were pointing towards the kitchen door, because our kitchen door has two little windows on it like that, two little mirrors that you can see through. And I was like, "Well, was it right there?" And they said, "Yeah, monkey, monkey, monkey." And I was like, "What color were its eyes?" And they said, "Red."
Oh yeah, no.
And I figured out how. I was like, I got to looking. I went outside and I opened the back door. The girls had turned the back porch light off. So that's why it came up to the house, because the porch light was off.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to try and get into that on Tom's show, but we had to wrap it up. But I got to talk about it.
That's nice. No. Wow.
Which, I mean, the girls, they're 2 and
Wow.
4, so I mean they were freaking out, like they were saying, "Monkey, monkey, monkey."
Yeah, that's kind of scary for children, I'm sure.
My internet is so.
But they weren't really scared. They were just curiously. I mean, I know they were screaming, but they didn't act like they were scared. They weren't crying or nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Man,
if that door had been unlocked, then something would have happened. Oh my Lord, I would have been sick. But I had the deadbolt. I had the deadbolt locked, so that was a good thing.
Right.
right? Wow, that is just, yeah.
Well, I imagine because our back porch kind of has like a slab and it has a step that goes down. So I would think, I don't know where it was standing at. I don't know how close it was, but I was
Mhm.
thinking for them to be able to see its eyes through the glass on the kitchen door, it had to have been at least 8.5 foot tall, at least.
Nice.
Well,
Very
I'll,
nice.
I'll actually go take a measurement of it right here in a minute, and I'll figure it out right how tall it is.
That's scary, dude.
Wow.
It is.
It is. That's disturbing, actually, in a lot of ways. It's interesting because
they're just curious. I mean, they're more drawn to women and children.
right.
It's just one of their things. But you know why? It's in their nature, I guess. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out how to word this. I guess it's
Wow.
like a childish instinct of theirs. You know, they just enjoy watching children run and play and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, it would be curious to see
Easier to
what
catch.
their wow.
That's that's one way to look at it.
What we have to assume that they want to catch every human being on Earth. I'm not
Well,
convinced of that completely.
No, there's good and bad ones. I mean, they're just like humans. I mean, there's good and bad humans. There's good and bad Bigfoot, and I'm starting to think that there's good and bad Dogman. I'm really starting to think that.
Mm,
I
we'll have to talk.
mean,
We'll have to explore that one.
Good
Well,
one.
Listen.
Good Dogman?
So I'm starting to think there is because I've been learning about these things that they call the wolf creatures. They're like Dogman, but they're not. But they're called wolf creatures. They're bipedal wolves. And they say the difference that you can tell between the wolf creatures and the Dogman, the wolf creatures have more fur on them. The Dogman look like they have a mange. That's the difference between the wolf creatures and the Dogman, apparently.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe. I'd have to talk to one to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I've had a close
Right.
call with not one but two different ones. The one I seen, the second one I never did see. Just got a picture of it.
So, in reading David Spink's book, The West Virginia Dog Man, one of the things that he does in that book is go through and describe a few different things. And he mentions the white wolf-like creatures and the black wolf-like creatures. And there's a lot of different folklore surrounding those, including indigenous American folklore. And ultimately, what it boils down to is, I believe it was the indigenous that say that they represented balance. The two represented balance, sort of like yin and yang. But it's very interesting to see the parallels, and they talk about in some of the descriptions, the locals in West Virginia talk about a wolf-like creature, but much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Do they talk about it being bipedal, or is it just quadruped at all times?
I believe there was a couple of instances where they talked about it being bipedal.
Well,
I need to go back and read that book.
here's an interesting twist on things. So I think that in some of these areas, there's isolated, possibly small populations of dire wolf. If you are not familiar with the dire wolf, they're extremely large, quote unquote, extinct species of wolf. And I think a lot of that could be some instances of the Dogman, but I know what I seen on January 29th, and that thing was bipedal, and I will stand on that till the day that I die. The Dogman are a legit thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the dire. I've always been a paleontology nerd. I mean, I grew up watching Jurassic Park, hiding behind the couch, peeking through a hole just so I could watch the TV. So I grew up liking dinosaurs and stuff like that, and I still have a love for it to this day. But I still try and fill in the gaps, with some of these cases. And I feel like a dire wolf could easily be an explanation for some of these Dogman cases, like where they see it on all fours. Yeah, I mean the dire wolves are huge. Like I think they're on Game of Thrones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
they're
dire wolves.
Yeah.
Right.
They're huge wolves. But there's something else that I've been digging into a little bit more.
I had a lady come on. I had a lady come on talking about that she was in it was Tim's wife actually, and she was saying I can't remember where she said she was in Ohio somewhere, and she was with some friends, and this dark black like German Shepherd like dog. It was she's 5'1" and to her navel, and this dog bit her. Like it ran away from somebody else, got away from somebody else, bit her on her leg, and then ran away. And it just freaked her out and everything. She didn't even feel the bite. She had no pain until someone pointed down at her leg and said, "Look, you're bleeding." And she was like, "Oh my God." She says the only way, because she still has a hard time dealing with it, is that she still has the scar on her leg. And this is Renee Gayhart, by the way. So, and I said, it's probably a dire wolf. I don't know exactly what it was, but she said it was pitch black, she said, and it was really big, really tall. It came out of nowhere, and it like kind of disappeared in there. It just came out, bit her, and then ran away.
Well, I don't know if y'all ever seen the video or not, but there's a video that's, I think it's still going around, of this guy that's outside with his dog, and his dog's barking at this thing, and you can see it. It's laying down on the ground, and you could see it.
Yeah.
You could see its big ears sticking up. And when that dog goes to chase it, that thing stands up, and it's like 3 times the size of that dog. And
Right.
the dog starts, he tries to get him some. Well, that big ass wolf, that little dog messed around and found out, man. I don't know.
Yeah, about to say it's Fafo over there, right?
Yeah. I don't know whatever happened to that dog. I'd imagine it got killed by it, but I don't know.
Unalived.
Yeah, unalived. Yeah, unalived. Yeah.
Wow.
I gotcha.
So I'm sorry, AI. Sorry. Algorithm.
The great AI.
Sorry, Daniel.
No, you're fine. Honestly, I'm having to get used to rewording things so much lately. So it's very interesting, because one of the things I've noticed with Dogman reports too is attacks on people, and they vividly know that they were attacked, but there was no evidence of the attack after it was over. They were literally unharmed, and Tom disappeared.
He left. He's having technical issues.
He is having technical issues. Their internet down there is not really the greatest. So, so let me tell you guys, last weekend, I had about an hour-long conversation with Daryl Denton, and he totally just blew my mind with what he told me. Like, I live 30 minutes away from the Cedars of Lebanon.
Yeah.
And apparently there's the reports of Bigfoot over there have gotten so bad that people don't even want to go there anymore.
I believe it.
So
they're starting to show up more and more. I
thought maybe I was about an hour away from the most activity, which would put that around the Cumberland Ridge, but it's literally in my backyard.
I'm telling you, Daniel, they're everywhere. Anywhere that there's a national forest, wildlife management area, state park, they are going to be there. And I've learned that from experience. I mean, Forks of the River Wildlife Management Area, 20 minutes from downtown Knoxville. And I got a photograph of a
Mhm.
Dogman that was stalking us turkey hunting. I mean, they are everywhere, literally and physically.
I have felt their presence in Farragut.
I believe it. I mean, you have the Fort Loudon and Telliclo Lakes right there. You got a dam right there that takes a lot of energy to run. I mean,
Yeah.
who's to say that they don't, have some underground tunnel network or something that connects to Oak Ridge National Laboratory? And what are they doing to Oak Ridge? CERN, shady stuff, opening portals and shooting dogmen with 50 calibers.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Ooh,
Allegedly.
allegedly
Right.
shooting dogmans that's coming out of these portals.
Right.
I mean,
I don't doubt it.
care.
I don't doubt it
care,
at all.
man. I tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And if it gets taken down,
Bingo.
then well, they know what's up.
Right.
Bingo.
Harley, so hey, are you familiar with Brian from Black Mass Paranormal?
Oh yeah, old Brian Jeffrey. I think we're old Brian.
I love Brian. Look,
Oh,
his
dude.
work on the Dogman and the feral people, is probably some of this. That's really where I got stuck in YouTube land. Was watching him first. His stuff blew me away
Oh yeah.
right off the
Yeah,
bat.
His Brushy Mountain incident with the Dogman that he recorded howling, roaring, or whatever you want to call it. That's
Heck yeah.
insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was over the top crazy. It really was. And then he had the feral person growl at him. Did you see that video?
I don't think I've seen that one.
It had to
did.
be close. You saw it, Jim?
Yeah.
That sucker had to be close by because that was loud.
Uh-huh.
That was
I'm
like,
telling you, there's all kinds of strange stuff in these mountains, man. Nothing surprises me anymore.
Well, just always remember, nothing is new under the sun.
exactly.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
apparently, just recent, there was a velociraptor sighting in Georgia.
Oh,
Somebody said they seen a full-fledged velociraptor would look like something off of Jurassic Park.
Wow.
wow.
And that almost makes me wonder, what if there's like like these I know portals are out there. I've captured them on film. I know they exist. I haven't seen one with the naked eye yet, but hopefully someday I will. And I just wonder if, some of these portals are not just interdimensional, but they're like a rip through space and time, and like stuff can come through from the future, past, or whatever you want to call it. Makes you wonder.
Right.
Like the Headless Valley in Northwestern Territories or wherever it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in Canada. But where this gold mining town was, but they found all the miners with their heads ripped off, and they had encounters and experiences with like woolly mammoths and stuff like that. So it's like it makes you just scratch your head and wonder,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very interesting. I mean,
Yeah, and then
if I ever see a velociraptor, I really hope that I have like some beef jerky that I can throw at it.
oh, dude, I'd try and lasso it, man. I would try and lasso it, and I would try my hardest to try and at least ride 8 seconds on it.
Right. Like, I mean,
I would need some rodeo shit.
I'm not gonna go full Tiger King, but I'm gonna do my best to domesticate that, and it's gonna be named George, and I'm gonna love it and hug it and kiss it.
I'm gonna try and do that Owen Grady like off of Jurassic World, man. That's what I'm gonna try and do.
Exactly.
With the hand.
And if things don't work out, take some pictures, a couple videos, and then go Cajun on it and put it over some rice.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
Hey, I bet it tastes like alligator.
Ooh.
Yeah, I bet it tastes like alligator.
Put a little bit of remoulade sauce on that, boy. I tell you what, that'd be real good.
Yeah, put your slappy mama on there.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
I'm hungry.
Old Bay seasoning. Oh man, my mouth's watering.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Exactly. This guy gets it.
So check you guys check the private chat when you get a moment. I think Tom finally gave up the ghost tonight on because of his internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is I get it. I get it.
Mm.
It's very interesting though, because like where my house sits is right behind where my backyard ends is
There.
where the county property apparently begins, from my understanding. So less than like the La Casas Kroger is about a mile away from me. And once you get past that store on La Casas, you're basically in the country. So that's where the activity really seems to start building for cryptids in our area, which is very interesting because
Is there any abandoned buildings around in that area?
to be honest with you, I'm not sure yet. Once the winter time is over with, I'm going to do some snooping around.
Well, if you can find some old abandoned buildings, that's typically where Dogman will tend to stick around and hang out. But not just them. Even Bigfoot would even take up habitat in that.
It's very interesting that you said that, because I know along 96 there were some right on the road there.
Well, right there in Alcoa, where the McGee Tyson Airport is, Arconics used to be a big factory. That their old facility got closed down, and they moved to the bigger one that's right across from McGee Tyson Airport. But at that old facility, apparently they have guard shacks set up with these big chain link fences and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And from what Scott Carpenter found out, there was Bigfoot and Dogman that was lurking around on that property. And they would go into the neighborhoods and steal pets and steal cat food, dog food, whatever the case may have been.
Yeah, that does not surprise me at all. I need to check and see how far. Somebody was talking about a barn that sits on the property right behind us. I'm really curious to know if that's an abandoned barn or if it's an active and owned barn. Because I gotta tell you, there are times when I definitely feel watched.
Oh yeah, your sixth sense kicks in real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look that up, guys. It's going to be a great time, and I hope everybody got their tickets.
Oh yeah, that's I was really hoping I could make it to that one, but I'm not going to be able to make it, unfortunately.
All right, so here's an idea. Here's how we find out what cryptids are there. All right, so what we do is we go to these buildings. We got to find part of it that has a door that actually functions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you take some saran wrap and you duct tape it to part of the wall and part of the door. And then get some Vaseline and put it on the saran wrap and then close the door. So that way, when they open it in a hurry and a rush, they slam into it, they get mad, start cussing, and start wiping all of it off, and they've got all their hair and DNA left in the Vaseline. Just like a prank that would pull.
That's an interesting concept. But what I do is a little bit different. What I do is I take bacon grease. I'll cook some bacon and I'll take some bacon grease. And this is what Scott Carpenter done.
Mm-hmm.
He takes some bacon grease, pour it up top of the tree, and he'd take some packing tape, double-sided packing tape, and wrap it around a tree as high as he could take it.
Yeah.
And when the Bigfoot would come in for the bacon grease, they'd come in and lick it off the tree. And when they would do that, their hairs would get caught in the packing tape, and when they would pull off, it would pull skin tags out with them, because that's the only way you can get DNA from a Sasquatch. It's been proven. If you don't have a skin tag, you can't get no DNA, because there's no medulla in their hair. Like our hairs, they have a medulla. Their hair does not. But you can get skin samples from their hairs as long as you get a hair tag out of their skin.
Mm-hmm.
and it's interesting, man, because like I've got hairs before out of there, and like it would be brown in one spot and then like translucent in another spot, and it's almost like horsetail hair kind of. It's just how coarse it is, but like the coloration of their hair is wild.
Yeah.
It'll be like brown and translucent, and then black and translucent. It's like all kinds of crazy. It's insane what their hair looks like.
I believe that. I mean, because I know, just looking back on the Sasquatch that I saw, for instance, like it was black in color, but its hair was just so shiny and just almost slick looking. I don't know if that
Yep.
would be like an oil or grease, but it was so reflective and just shiny. It was very odd, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing
It's
was
almost
odd.
like the glimmer effect, kind of. I think they
Yeah.
can do that with their hairs, like with the sun hitting it a certain way, and I think that's how they can do that cloaking, like a predator. Which, I
Mhm.
mean, I've always said there's truth in the science fiction, man. They had the predators. Hey, they had to get that design from somewhere. I mean, Bigfoot can do that. Let's just do that and throw out in a movie as the predators. Ooh.
Right. Well, I mean, how many times do we got to have whistleblowers being like, "Hey, guys, they're trying to give soft disclosure and desensitize everybody through film and media." I mean, like,
Yeah.
we've been hearing this as a narrative for what, 60, 70 years at
At
least?
least, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Which, I mean, they could talk about stuff in the sky all day long, but when you start talking about stuff on the ground, people ain't coming out of their house. I mean, this
Mm.
UFO, UAP stuff is great and all, but I mean, there- it's a start, for the paranormal world. But if we can get just a little bit about Bigfoot, Dogman, and all that other stuff, I think we'll be all right. You can at least acknowledge it and be like, "Hey, they're real." Like you do what you're doing right now, but with the UFO and UAPs. Acknowledge that they're here. Don't just hide it. Just acknowledge it.
Right.
But they won't do that.
No.
Yeah, no, they're for one thing, and in order for them to acknowledge that, they're going to have to acknowledge other things that the CIA or that place, excuse me, that three-letter organization is,
MIBs.
Yeah.
Pigs.
yeah. I think it's very important for us to understand that, like, if you acknowledge the existence of these things, you're going to have to start. That opens a whole new door of things you're going to have to learn to acknowledge the existence and truth behind, and they are not ready to do that.
No. Which, I mean, they done acknowledge that the UFOs and UFPs ain't coming from outer space; they're coming from the ocean. Yeah, there's nobody ready for that conversation yet. No, I think all this stuff is demonic. I think all of it is. I think every bit of it is. I think the Greys are demonic beings. I think that the UFOs and stuff's demonic crafts. And
Right.
I think that it's going to be the great deception. All this stuff's coming out, and they're going to be blaming it. Oh, these people are being abducted by the aliens, when in all reality it's going to be the rapture. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe. I mean, nothing else. I mean, Space Daddy is a great out, so maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, as far as that goes, like to me, a gray is nothing more than a 3D printed meat suit, an empty vessel that something has to inhabit.
Yep.
Because them disembodied spirits, they sure do want a body.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like how you hear all these abduction cases. If they rebuke it in the name of Jesus, it stops.
Yep. Very true.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
I mean, we say it all the time. It's all connected.
Yep, it's all intertwined and connected.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's like it's Pandora's box, but it's already kind of been opened.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right. I kind
You
of
okay,
feel
Daniel?
like, yeah, I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in the chat right now
Oh.
while we're doing other things, because Emma's I guess some of the links are not working now to this conference, and so I'm trying to follow that while I'm following you guys.
If anybody
The-
is interested in finding those links, all you have to do, more than likely, go to probably Texas Front Porch or Blondes and Booze,
Paranormal
BMR,
Paul.
and our favorite, Paranormal Paul, best for last. They should have all the information that you guys want or need, and it's going to be a great time. So,
Oh, also, May 3rd, it's the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in Townsend, Tennessee. Y'all show up there. I will be a speaker. Y'all can come up there, find me, listen to me talk, and it's gonna be a great time. And I look forward to meeting each and every one of y'all. It's gonna be a great honor to be a part of there with Maria Mayer, Martin Groves, Adam Davies, and so many other awesome speakers. It's just so real and so awesome to be poised as the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot guy, and I'm just super blessed. I'm super honored and blessed to be a part of it.
Is there any way to get to Townsend without having to go through the mountains? Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able. There's no way I'm going to be able to make it. My car won't make it that up those mountains. I already know. I'm probably going to try to hone in on the Gatlinburg conference this year, if possible.
I tried to get on with them, and they're real tight on their stuff. You have to have X amount of followers and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, whatever.
Have you thought about the Wild Man conference yet? No, you haven't thought about it. Okay.
super secret squirrel.
Super secret. Super secret. Super secret.
Yep.
Okay.
That
Really?
will be disclosed at a later time. Let's just say it like that. I mean, that's not like answering the question. I technically didn't answer the question, but I kind of just answered it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I cannot confirm
With an ostrich.
I cannot confirm or deny that I may or may not be there. That's all. I'm done. That's all it is. I'm done.
There are rumors around the internet, probably just stemming from TikTok, that you may or may not be there this year.
Yeah. TikTok.
I keep trying to give you an out.
Yeah,
digging.
CNN.
You keep digging.
CNN spreading fake news about me.
That's right. Because they're all interdimensional aliens sucking out everybody's loosh.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, James, I'm really glad you're here tonight because you always ask some really great questions. What about EMF?
We don't use the EMF meters. Actually, yeah, we did this last time that we went out. It was the 21st of December when we went out. George did bring an EMF reader, and in certain spots, that thing, like there was like 3 different colors, if I remember right. There was red and a blue and a green, if I remember right. The red would spike up, and then the blue would spike up a little bit, and then like in some areas they would drop, and then they'd spike back up. But the weirdest thing was on footprints that we found that the Bigfoot had made. We couldn't cast them, but we could tell that they sat there. We'd put the EMF reader right down next to those footprints, and they would skyrocket.
It's interesting how electrical phenomenon seems to correspond with all of it.
Well, quartz rock too. That's all this. My research area is full of quartz rock, and quartz rock is essentially like a giant battery in a sense.
Right. All of that area.
And it'll amplify. I think it amplifies the energy in that area for paranormal and portals and all this other stuff.
Right.
There are parts of that park that I get that when I've gone into, I literally almost have an etheric experience every single time I walk into them. It's like that area just around the cove there, Cada's Cove, is really very highly energetic.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. Both of you, I want to know if either one of you have heard of anybody taking Geiger counter readings around like the footprints and so forth.
Yes.
I've not. No.
I've heard of it.
And what do you remember the results?
Typically, depending upon the freshness, what I recall is it's always higher than background.
Okay.
But that
does not
goes down in
surprise me.
time. Yeah, it goes down in time. Because radiation decays anyways.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're better off with EMF for
Which I mean,
long term.
you think about this, you hear all these stories of people going in the portals, and they come out and then they end up dying because of radiation. I mean,
Right.
if the Bigfoot are having radiation in their footprints, that explains a lot of things. They go into these portals with radiation, and there you go.
Right.
Right. That's why it doesn't really surprise me. I was curious, very curious, because I know some of the theories that I'm working on right now when it comes to things surrounding that, the shift in the vortex there in Asheville and that sort of thing. Harley, how far away are you mileage-wise from Asheville?
Oh Lord, I remember, but I'm about to figure it out. If you hadn't asked me that, I could have told you, but I just had a brain fart. Hang on a second. It's 44 miles.
Okay, so you're kind of in between, like the
I'm in between. Do you know where Dandridge is?
Yeah.
So you go across Douglas Lake.
Right.
Yeah, it's right. I'm right. And Newport's just right through there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I actually spent a week at one of the hotels in Dandridge when I was doing work there one time, just to check out the area. I wanted to know why it was realtors were eyeing it so hard, because there's almost nothing in Dandridge.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. The only thing that place has got going for it's the lake.
Hey, it's got an Applebee's.
Yeah, they do have Applebee's. Yeah.
Brutus. Yeah.
It's very important to have the Applebee's. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question now. So you guys just brought up quartz. Now, Magic, can you talk to me or us a little bit about the fancy rock properties of quartz, like as far as fancy rock powers go? I don't know how to phrase that.
Yeah.
I know that you would know more about it.
Yeah, that's your alley.
Quartz, especially clear quartz, because there's several different types of quartz, is considered kind of the king of crystals. It's very all-purpose. It's extremely high vibrational. It's the clarity of it. It will also depend sometimes on how high vibrational it is. One of the things that's really important to know about quartz, though, is that there's some quartz. I'll show you a piece of what I'm about to talk about here.
Okay. Because if I'm not mistaken, under pressure, it produces piezoelectricity as one instance.
It does. Actually, watches, the non-digital watches have quartz in them. They're like quartz crystal watches. Rolex, I believe, Timex used to be very like really well known for being quartz watches.
Yeah.
It would actually say it on the face of the watch. So this is a decent sized chunk of quartz, and this one in particular is actually kind of a twin. This and one other one that's in this room I use as an amplifier. So it amplifies all of the energy around it, and it can amplify energy for anything.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It to take enough of that in one area, it's going to amplify everything tenfold.
Right.
Exactly. There's like literally pretty much any property that any other crystal has, quartz crystal pretty much absorbs and is that property as well. So, and here's the other thing that's very interesting. Starting at the LBL and going eastward, iron is a big thing with there. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but at one time in the 1800s, they were mining hematite in the LBL along with iron.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that.
So hematite is probably very predominant there in the mountains as well. I suspect that there's probably beds of amethyst located somewhere in the mountains there as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've met.
Yeah, yeah. And amethyst basically starts getting its or is that citrine is the one that gets its color from radiating the radiation, the heat from the earth.
Beats me.
Yeah.
So citrine is a very yellowish, golden color, clear quartz.
Okay.
I have some examples of that somewhere over there, and that I've got my crystal shelves are literally packed full right now. And then you have smoky quartz, which this is a darker smoky quartz here that is probably somewhat predominant there in that area as well. But what I'm going to tell you guys is that literally, like everywhere from the area of the park itself through Asheville is very important. It's all kind of connected to the vortex of of this area. And that's one of the reasons, Harley, why I ask you the question about the uptick in paranormal activity since the storm. That and the fact that because the storm altered a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
And that was what they were hoping to do. But what they didn't know and they didn't understand was that in altering that vortex, they kind of expanded it a little bit.
Right. Well, you know what I'm actually kind of hooked on right now that is very interesting that you brought up. The mining of the iron from that area. I mean, what do we know historically has always been used to fight against fae and everything about like supernatural iron. And if you take all the iron out and all of a sudden things go crazy, I don't know.
Well, let me get your opinion on this. Opinion on this. So you know how they're trying to push these smart cities, right? What if they are, trying to get civilization to realize, hey, you need to come to these smart cities, and what if the government is, now this is just theoretically speaking, are making some of these cryptids genetically modifying them and turning them loose to essentially kill off the natural ones. And you either have to stay in the smart city if you want to live, or if you want to go and die and, expose yourself out in the wilderness to these, man-made abominations.
Right. Magic, what do you think about that?
I have no doubt that the government, as a matter of fact, I I'm not going to get into the deep roots of it. I have
Okay.
no doubt that the government is engineering certain things.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
And my sources indicate that there's stuff that is happening in the field of biological engineering with not only the cryptids that we're most familiar with,
Right.
but that there's other things that we are less familiar with that is being introduced too. One of the areas that is very interesting to me is located right off in New York, not too far away from where the old Montauk facility was.
Ah.
So I'm not going to say any names, but do your research on that. But I do know that there's some biological engineering that has gone on there in the past that is very interesting. And I believe that there's probably been some things escaped before that have washed up on shore
Hmm.
that have been published at times too. James, again, you brought up a really good point about Hollow Earth.
Hmm.
Do you guys do know there is a facility and like not too far, one of the mountains there in Virginia actually has an underground facility that is most likely an underground city.
I mean, I
Not
think there's probably hundreds of deep underground military bases scattered throughout the entire country.
Oh yeah. There's
I
a
mean,
big
I've
one
got
in
one like 30
Missouri.
miles down the road.
Yeah, there's a big one in Missouri.
Mhm.
I've seen a video on TikTok of the truckers driving underground.
Right.
right. Well, and honestly, so Jim, where you're at, you know that like, was it Ardmore, somewhere around in that area? There's a host section fenced off that's all government owned, and there's cave openings there too. I want
Yeah.
to say it's around Ardmore in that area.
Um,
It's in Alabama, and it's very close to the Tennessee border.
it sounds possible. I would think that would be more Muscle Shoals if I had to just take a guess at it.
No. It's
But it
it's
could be.
really close to Huntsville. It's really close to Huntsville. It's
Oh,
part of.
Oh, is it like?
I,
I'm trying to think of where it's at. Is it like Fort Payne, or is it further north?
no, it's further north. It's
Fort Payne
like
would be the wrong way.
it would be somewhere between like and near New Market and Huntsville area.
Right.
And
It
my
could be.
my understanding is that it's one of the above ground openings to the catacombs that are
Mhm.
underneath North Alabama.
Right. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I know
Yeah.
there's at least 3 or 4 underground military bases in the general area of where you're speaking of.
Mhm.
So I'm not surprised at all.
And
However,
it's untelling what's in those bases.
right. Right, yeah. Before we get off the subject though, just want to make sure I circle back real quick and
Mhm.
say to your point, Harley, about the smart cities, if the beasts of the earth are going to kill however many people that's talked about in Revelations,
Yep.
gotta escape somewhere. So I'm with you.
And
But
it makes you wonder.
anyways.
It makes you wonder.
It does. But yeah. As far as the underground stuff goes though, man, like North Alabama is just honeycombed. I mean, it's just caves and underground water as far as the eye can see. I mean, it's insane. It's literally just insane how much there is. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
One of the entrances to those honeycombs of cave is right downtown Huntsville.
Mhm.
the ledge where that white bank is,
Yeah.
I think it's the First National Bank, that has the plaque that talks about Jesse James. That
Oh yeah.
there's right behind the bank, there's that drop off, that huge drop off. And it
Yes.
goes into a pool of water there
Hmm.
at the big springs. And then if you look in that ledge, there's a cave opening.
Dang.
It doesn't go very far, I don't think any longer, because I think that opening may lead into the area that they had to dig down and fill in to get the courthouse built on that property.
Okay.
Because I know in order to build the courthouse, they actually dug down and filled in part of the cave system underneath it, so that if there was any reason for it to sink, the courthouse wouldn't sink down into it.
It's not
But
that pretty. It could go.
yeah, it's a 1970s monstrosity.
Right.
Literally, it was built in the 1970s. I was a kid. I remember the old courthouse that's down there. God, I feel old. Hey, let's party like it's 1699. So the thing of it
old
is,
1699. Yeah.
right.
Okay. All right. I'm down.
So one of the things that, since you guys are bringing up smart cities too, that is very interesting. Like, we had the total destruction of an area on the East Coast, and now we've had the total destruction of an area on the West Coast. So,
But I mean, if you look at a map of where they want these smart cities, Asheville and LA are two of the places.
right, but right now they're both almost uninhabitable because of contaminants. All of the ash from those fires is toxic because of all the things that burnt up in the fires.
All the human feces.
All the electronic devices, a lot of things.
I was thinking of LA.
Not the blue roofs and not the blue trash cans.
Yeah.
Project Blue Beam. Project Blue Beam.
Right. So it is very interesting that that they're trying to make all these areas uninhabitable right now, and they're doing it on the coastal areas. So that is one of the things that's kind of a red flag for people to watch for along the coastal lines, I believe, right now. I am also very concerned about the fact that until recently, Chicago was seeing a lot of giant owl and mothman type creatures, especially in the area of Little Village, which is a predominantly what population? Hispanic. And of course, Chicago was listed as one of the big roundup cities for the gathering of illegals. So again, this is another area to watch for as far as things that are possibly going to happen in the next few days and weeks. Cryptid wise, it's very possible. There was a Dogman sighting on Lakeshore Drive too.
Really?
A while back at 4 a.m. in the morning, and it was not. It was away from downtown. It was away from the main area, but it was not that far away. But yeah, right on Lakeshore Drive, one of the most traveled streets in Chicago. A Dogman sighting.
Well, I mean, that would. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
She called it a werewolf, but it sounds like a Dogman.
I mean, I would tend to agree with her on that because it's going to be what what do we want to label Dogman as? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys know my story. Like, I'm 100% convinced that it was, traditional werewolf, lichen, whatever you want to call it. And the occult literature is full of lycanthropy details and stories and all that. So to see one in a high metro area of Chicago, where I'm sure there's plenty of bad stuff going on, it don't really surprise me at all,
Right.
But
Right.
if we want to say flesh and blood all the time and say it's separate, then yeah, then I would say that is crazy.
Well, they can be flesh and blood when they want to be. I believe that's my personal opinion.
Right.
Sorry, the young one's trying to get in here aggravating.
No, you're fine.
It's all good, buddy.
Harley, are you experiencing anything there tonight?
Not tonight, no.
Okay.
Not that I've noticed.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Like the stuff that's been going on around there lately, it really is. I don't understand. I mean, I know
something won't happen after we get off of this. I mean, it's untelling. I mean,
yeah.
Right.
To be fair, I've had a lot of stuff going on, what I would say is out of season. I mean, normally I have stuff happen in the spring, and it's been kicking off now in the winter, which is very strange. Fall and winter. I'm not used to that. It's the uptick I've noticed has been very strange. I don't have an explanation.
Yeah, the security camera that's pointed in the backyard has not detected any activity of anything lately at all. But I keep watching it. I watch it all night long sometimes when I'm at home, and then if I'm out of town, I'll check it every once in a while to see if there's anything recorded on it or if there's anything on there. So far, I haven't had anything, but I kind of expect any time to see some activity, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
At least a shadow, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Because they have openly tried to use mind speak with me before. I do know that.
Have you had an indication of what they were?
Well, I mean, did you see the photos that I posted from Kodak when I was at the hotel in Kodak?
Maybe. I probably did, yeah.
Harley, did you see those?
Growling him.
yeah, I did. Yeah. I gotta be muted for a second. I'm this youngin's growling and stuff. Hang on.
Oh, okay, go ahead. You're fine. I think it is predominantly Bigfoot related. One of them I know is not, though. I believe it's an elemental of some type. It just has not made itself known.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I did an experiment that was very interesting with them when I was driving. So they love to hit me up when I get to Sparta. They love to hit me up there. So I was driving over there around Sparta, very close to the overlook. And one of them came through and was like, "Let me drive your car." And I was like, I said, "Excuse me." And he was like, "Let me drive your car." I'm like, "I am not going to let you drive my car." And he was like, "I want to show you what we can do. Let me drive your car." So I gave it the opportunity to take over, and it literally did. And I lost about 15 minutes of time and came back and kind of got a preview, and this thing was able to drive my car and keep it between the lines the whole time.
Holy cow.
Through me. So they're capable of doing machinery, or at least being able to somehow tap into our knowledge to be able to do machinery.
Well, if they've been around for so long, they would have seen it literally being developed. Of course, they would know. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I thought it was a very interesting experience. I'm not really fond of letting them take full control over anything.
Right.
But that was definitely an interesting experience.
Was there any residual anything after that experience?
No.
No, just lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and they even this one actually was able to review with me exactly like I was able to experience its memory of what it had done, if that makes sense. So I was able to go back and review exactly what happened.
Fascinating.
It's they're very interesting creatures. The one in particular that I've had the most contact with is extremely curious about religion, which I find very interesting, has openly discussed religious topics.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is probably a group of them that are redeemed, possibly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that some of them, I think some of them may be able to. You see, I think it depends on possibly their genetics. If they have more human-like qualities to them, say their genetics is more human, there's a good possibility that it's possible they can be redeemed. But if they have more of the other side, it's unlikely that they probably can't. But I mean, regardless, I'm not going to say they can't be saved and redeemed, and I'm not going to say they can. But we just don't know, essentially. But and like in the movie Noah, for example, when the Watchers, they done their deed, and they ascended into heaven. Who's to say that's not possible for them? I mean, these beings, entities, or whatever you want to call them.
Right. I guess it's possible. I mean, despite what happened at the end of Book of Enoch and Giants, but I'm not one to put a limit on God. And, I like the thought process of if there is more human quality genetically to them, that it's far more possible. I mean, the Bible has examples if you want to look at that. I mean, let's just look at King Saul. He was descended essentially from a Raphaim tribe. Yeah. And then there's David's mighty men. So, I mean,
I mean, if you think of it, I had it on the tip of my tongue and I was just about to say it and I just completely lost train of thought. It'll come back to me in a minute.
Okay.
Well,
so what does this elemental say though? Like what is their general curiosity?
Well, the general curiosity of all of them and the Sasquatch seems to be revolving around our understanding and relationship with Yahshua. And it's very important to them. It's also important to them to understand our connection with the earth. Whenever you tell them that our ultimate calling as far as the earth goes was to be stewards of the earth, they kind of smirk at that a little bit because they're like, well, you're making a poor judgment call with that. Meaning that our job is we've kind of really failed miserably at doing that, which I have to agree with them, to be honest with you. So one of the things I totally forgot my train of thought too on this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there one place, and I forget exactly where it is. I want to say it was before the ascension, that Joshua said to his disciples and his apostles that he had to attend to other sheep in another place. Wasn't there a discussion about that? He said he had to go and deal with his other sheep in another place. Could he not have been talking about the indigenous of other countries, and also could he have not been talking about these very beings that we call cryptids?
Ooh, that's an interesting concept.
I mean, if
Hey.
we want to go all Book of Mormon on it, probably, but
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. But you guys go ahead and
I
conversate.
remember what I was going to say now. So like some people, they're more in tune to like be like a medium and stuff like that. Have psychic abilities and stuff like that. There's something about those kind of people that whether they have like supernatural capabilities or whatever. But I definitely tend to think that that could tie into a lot of things as well with this paranormal phenomenon that's going on.
So what it is, I'm sorry, the verse you're referring to is John 10:16.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus uses implicit or indirect speech to talk about the Gentiles, which is the other sheep, and himself as the shepherd. He says, I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and they shall be one flock and one shepherd. Meaning that once he gets done doing his work here, that means all the other Gentiles are now able to come back into the fold. Because if you remember in Genesis, they were disinherited, and Yahweh God said, I'm going to make a new covenant with the Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other 70 nations were put under the dominion of the sons of God.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that is what the reference is.
So,
but
who is to say that they are not Gentiles as well? That's where, I mean, they're not Jews,
Right.
I would think. Or maybe they are, or maybe they have Jewish descendancy, since they are if they are actually truly, from the Nephilim bloodline.
Right.
That's
And that would depend upon, like we were saying earlier, like the amount of human that they would have in them.
Yes.
Because, it's like a fine dividing line that you can see, historically speaking, at least. I have no proof. But historically, if there seems to be more human genetics, then all of a sudden they seem to do good stuff.
Yeah.
If there is more fallen genetics, they do
more
bad
negative.
stuff.
Yeah. Negative,
exactly. Yeah. There seems to be a very fine line there.
You know what? I really, because we're getting close to the hour and a half mark. I really want to take this topic to another level at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
And do a part 2 on this whole thing, because here's the thing of it. Anyway, I believe that there is, I'm about 50-50 on the idea of cryptids, all cryptids being descendants of the Nephilim. I'm about 50-50 on, I believe.
Well, listen. The Nephilim are only the offspring of the fallen angels and human women. The fallen angels did not just procreate with humans; they procreated with animals and even plants. So
all flesh was corrupted. Yes.
Yes, but that technically does not make the animals and the plants Nephilim. Am I wrong?
You're right.
Right. So it's very interesting to me. This whole topic is very interesting to me, and I think it deserved to have much deeper conversation. And you're both in a place in your understanding that's very interesting and very curious to talk about. So I would like to get a time when we can all three come back on and really deep dive into this again.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Let's do it.
This is my
Yeah.
bread and butter, man. I love this stuff. You
Yeah,
kidding me?
I'm all for it. So I love talking about the Nephilim. I'm introverted but willing to discuss Nephilim.
Ha! I saw that
So
shirt.
are you guys, did the Ryan Peterson, are you guys familiar with him?
Who?
He wrote a book called The Judgment of the Nephilim.
Oh yeah, he's got a YouTube channel, doesn't he?
I'm not really sure about that, but I picked up the book on Amazon.
Let me see the book. I'm pretty sure he's got a YouTube channel. Yes. He has a YouTube channel. Yes.
He has a whole series of these books, right? Because one, I think, is The Judgment of the Nephilim. There's another book out there called The Final Nephilim or something like that. So I've started reading The Judgment of the Nephilim, but I really want to get past a couple of other things because I'm trying to read Dewey's book as well right now on the Mantell case. And
that's Ryan Patterson. Yeah. He's got the YouTube channel, The Judgment of the Nephilim. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. I want to dive into that book, but I want to make sure I've cleared the path for it first. Because the thing is he goes into the ordination of marriage first, and how that the corruption of the seed of man would have ultimately led to kind of a brick wall for the birth of Yeshua or Yahshua into the world, because the bloodline of David would have been corrupt.
Correct.
And so I kind of want to get into this book and deep dive it a little bit, but I really want us to come on and do some serious discussion on that, on this whole topic. Because I very much believe that this is one of those things that is hashed out in a few channels. But
and I can dive into a little bit of the genetics of the Sasquatch, and actually describe how that corresponds into the Nephilim.
Right. And that's kind of some of the stuff I want to hear about and I want to talk about, because I feel like overall the majority of people are not, they get into the spiritualism of it and so forth like that, but I don't think they're like really touching.
They don't get the grasp. They don't get the full concept of it. They just take it with a grain of salt, and I mean a grain of salt.
Right. And I really want to deep dive into it. I want to get into
It's such a deep subject, man.
No,
it takes
is.
hours upon hours.
That's a rabbit hole that you can just keep following and make a U-turn and go back up and then go back down. Like it's an endless rabbit hole.
But meanwhile, it's the rabbit hole that wraps up
everything.
Yep. Spoiler alert.
Yep. It's like a yin and yang symbol. There's all this.
Yep.
We may possibly, if you guys are willing, have to make a series of it then.
Yeah. Right.
I'm down. I'm down.
Oh man. We could, what we could do? We can make a whole channel for this. Oh boy, this is. Oh man.
Okay.
That is a possibility. I've been looking for an offshoot. We'll discuss these things. I want to get the two of you guys in a chat and start making plans on this. But I'm going to go on and wrap us up for tonight. I really appreciate you all being on here. I can't tell you enough.
Oh, I had a blast. It's good to be here.
Happy
I
to
did
help.
too. I did. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad that things worked. This was kind of divine timing, I think. I'm going to have to go back and make some changes to the title and the description and so forth, and get us some views going on this. And Pam and I'll talk about promoting this and how we're going to promote the future stuff that comes
I'll
off of
blast
this.
it all over TikTok and everything like that. I'll put it out there. I mean, it'll be out there.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll get that. And Pam, I'm going to include you in that conversation, most likely, so we can get your feedback and you can be in the know as well on what we're planning on doing. Because I don't do a whole lot without Pam. I don't make a lot of decisions without Pam knowing what's going on.
Oh yeah, Pam, we love you, Pam.
Love you, Mama.
Exactly. We do love our Pam. All right, I'm going to pull you guys back. If you'll hang out for just a moment afterwards.
Bye.
I will talk
Bye,
to you
y'all.
in
Thanks
a
for tuning in.
moment.
God bless you.
Eat tookie.
Oh.
He gets it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, there you have it. I gotta tell you, talk about spontaneity and divine timing. I thoroughly believe in that. I just want to give you guys a heads up. Do not forget that Tuesday, I have the Tuesday morning drop. I usually get those will drop actually automatically now at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. They're pre-recorded shows. On Thursday, normally this last night was a no-show. I apologize for that. I was out of town this week for work. Did not get home in time to be able to really work on getting that set up properly. So the Paranormal Files is usually on Thursdays. Did not happen this past week, but it will be next Thursday at 7 o'clock Central Time. Paranormal Files. We're going to start talking about cryptids on there. Oddly enough, that is my series coming up on there. And of course, Fridays at 7:15 Central Standard Time. Guys on the East Coast, that means 8:15 Eastern Standard Time for you. My live. All right. I don't know what you guys thought about tonight's show, but I want you to leave comments down below on what you thought about the show tonight. Give me some likes, loves, and shares. And if you are watching this for the first time and you have not subscribed to me, please do subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and may your journey always be magical.
I've waited for so long to see when you come back to me. Through the wars and battles that were lost, we're born again, it's you and me. The rest is history. Past lives. Past lives. Did we dance together on different floors in 1500 or 1504? We must have been lovers, we must have been something in our past lives.